So this trip got well below zero. Here's some tips on in case you don't think this crazy and you want to try it yourself.
8 below for you in Beaver Creek. Everyone is likely going to be in that -10 to perhaps even -20 range through the night ahead. Futurecast feels...
Oh, don't get so wound up about it. I'm in my RV. I'm doing great.
So here's going to be some talking at you and some showing you things that might help you.
Hey there, YouTubers. I'm going to do a video about winter RVing. I'm going to try to do some tips, tricks on keeping warm, and some other silly kind of things I do. If you've seen my channel before, hopefully you know this, and if you stumbled across it, I might be a little different, but I don't claim to know everything about everything, and what I'm going to share are just ideas that I've found that work for me. Some of them you might like, and some of them you might think are stupid. Okay, so it's about 2 degrees below zero outside, and I'm in my Class B, and that's what we're doing. That's what it is in here. So it's almost 70 degrees. It's 68, and I have 2 small electric heaters going. I am winter camping at a campground at a state park, which I'll try to do the benefits and other options of what you can do. Why I chose to do a campground is I have pets and I like having the electricity to use that. And in the winter, usually campgrounds are cheaper. They cut their rates to try to get somebody in. There were people in here recently, but I'm the only idiot here right now. Some things you can do other than the electric space heaters like I'm doing is you can, of course, use your onboard propane tank. Now, the one thing you need to know is a lot of people that haven't RV'd before might think, well, I'll just go park anywhere and I'll use the onboard propane and it'll be good to go. This is a generalization and not exact fact. Your RV may differ. But to run your propane furnace, you need electric power. You need to run the fan in the furnace. And from everything I've seen, that usually takes about 4 amps to run that. So you can run your battery down a lot quicker than you might think. So for a lot of people, you think right off the bat that that's the best way to go. And I could kick mine on now since I'm on power and not worry about my batteries. But you can drain a battery pretty quick. Another option, and I'll do it later, is on a small Class B like this, a great thing to do is just turn the engine on and use the heater, you know, the dash heat. Because in a small space, that dash heat actually does pretty well on warming things up. It might be a little bit better than running your propane furnace and killing your battery. You can also run a generator to power that if you have to worry about your battery. So that's an option. Like I said, I like to use the electric space heaters because the campground fee is pretty low and you can burn a lot of propane in your onboard furnace. And then you got the battery issue. And propane can be more expensive than you think. I think one of the best things you can do if you're trying to boondock and stay warm in the winter is to just use one of those little Mr. Buddy heaters. They're pretty efficient. You don't need an outside electrical source. You just have to use your head and be careful with fumes and all that good stuff. But your RV should have a CO2 sensor, so you should be good. And most people don't have too much problems with it. One problem you're going to run into, and if I was doing this for longer, I would set this up, is I would put skirting around an RV because you're going to get a lot of cold coming up from the ground, obviously. Because I have the pets, I normally don't keep a heater on the floor because I don't want an open flame or with an electrical heater. I don't want the animals around that, either cat hair getting into it or them fiddling with it. So now they're both kind of stationary and not messing around too much. So I got it on the floor for now. But I think I've had a great time a couple days out here and it's fine. It is fine. Now, if I was to lose electric power, if the power went out here, I might have some problems. Another thing I do is I have what I've shown before, and I'll do a little bit more on it, is the heated mattress pad. I've just started using it this winter, and it's a game changer. So if you're going to do any cold weather camping and you have either outside power source or your onboard batteries, a heated mattress pad might be the way to go. I've used 12 volt kind of throw electric blankets in the past, and they do okay, but the heated mattress pad really is a game changer. So the next part I'm going to do in sections, but I'm going to talk about water. You know what I mean? This RV is winterized, so I don't have onboard water. I've blown the lines out and everything like that. There are tricks you can do. Basically, I just bring water with me. And normally when I'm in my RV, I don't drink out of my holding tanks. I don't drink the camp water. I get bottled water, you know, gallon jugs of water and stuff like that. So that's not a big deal to me. All right, so some of the other things you got to think about are using the bathroom. We're going to talk about that. I'll do some other video of looking at it. And doing dishes and stuff like that. So I got tricks for that kind of stuff. Something else that is important is using something to try to keep the cold out. And Reflectix is a great trick. Some people actually use like bubble wrap, and that works well. Now, being in a Class B, I think I'm actually pretty lucky because they are insulated pretty well. So this does pretty good. Of course, there's going to be draft, there's going to be cold spots. Like I said, the floor is going to be a little bit colder. So it's all pretty much common sense because I'm not a rocket scientist or anything. I'm not all that bright. But it's not that hard to do. It's not uncomfortable. It's not terrible. So you can use the furnace. You can use a Mr. Buddy. You can run the engine. You can use electric space heaters. My RV has an air conditioner with a heat pump. Now, a lot of people will say if it gets below 40 or 32 degrees or whatever, that heat pump's not going to work. I don't agree with that. I will say when I run that, I wouldn't call it a heater when it's really, really cold like this. It'll blow some warm air, but it's not really blowing hot air. But, you know, it still helps. I actually usually run that when I leave and leave the animals in here, because a lot of what I do is because I have animals. If I didn't have animals, I would shut it up, go wander around, trudge around in the snow, look at things that are worth looking at in my opinion. Then I would come back and heat the RV up. But because of animals, I got to try to keep the RV warm even while I'm gone. Another good thing is my refrigerator and freezer. I don't even have to turn it on in the winter because it stays pretty cold in there. You're good to go. So now we'll look at some of the other things and some of the tricks I have, and hopefully they'll helpful. And there are people that are going to say, there's no friggin' way I'm doing that. I get it. I mean, I spent a winter down in Key West, and it's a little bit better than staying here in Ohio when it's 2 degrees below zero. But you can still go out and enjoy it. And hopefully some of these tips might make you think, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? I get cold and go home, you know? But we'll go on to some other stuff. All I really have on the bed is, this is one small blanket. This is a comforter. There's another one. I have a blanket back here by the window, tucked in, because, you know, the window, it's cold outside. And I have another one on this window behind the cat. Right, cat? All right, man. And, yeah, I have Reflectix back there. I don't know if you can see in that corner, there's 2 of them. There's one that goes down to the bottom and kind of wraps to the floor. And then the other one goes all the way up to the top. And that helps a lot. There's other ideas that I might try tomorrow. But, yeah, lots of ways you can do this. Okay, I recently showed that I got a heated mattress pad. I'm very happy with it. I got it hooked up to the meter, and it bounces around a lot. I got it set really high right now to warm it up at like 14, I think. I don't know what else it goes up to. 20 is high, so 14 is pretty high. And it's running about it's bouncing, like I said. Right now it's 180 watts. And it might be something you could do off your RV battery, but I tell you what, I have decided I don't think I'll go RVing without it. See, it shuts on and off. It went down. That's basically off. That's just the juice that it takes to power this Belkin thing. I turned it up. I want to see if it
kicks it up. So it's going to bounce all around. It might be hard to figure, but I saw it like at 220, I think was the highest it got to. See, there's 227. That's pretty high. So I tell you what, though, if you get one of these for your RV, you won't want to go without it. All right, there's more.
So I don't know what you can see back there. Over in that corner, the green, that is a sleeping bag. I suggest you always take a sleeping bag with you, a cold weather one in case something goes wrong and it gets cold. That is one of those bamboo mats that I just have stuffed under there to keep the cats. But that sleeping bag, if I need an emergency, I have it going across the back end to keep more airflow out. You know, you're going to get little bits of issues. So if you're taking something for extra, it's good to insulate. And that cuts some of it down. As I said before, the biggest problem is if I was going to do this for a long time, I would definitely put some skirting around the RV, because your issue comes from the bottom. That's where the cold comes up on the floor. And even though right now I have a heater on the floor because the cats are in their spots and not moving around, I normally don't put one on the floor. So it gets cold down here. So anything you can to cut down airflow helps. Okay, then in the window, that is, you know, the standard what you put in the summer, but it also helps you in the winter. And I'll admit, because of the animals, during the day I usually take that out so they can see. You know, I don't want them totally locked up in here without being able to see. Right, Keek?
Here are the two small heaters I'm using, and you can only pick low or high. I hang this one so the cats can't get to it.
I actually don't have them on high. I have them on low, both of them. Not because I'm worried about tripping anything, but they will shut off. They'll get hot and shut off. And I found that if I keep them on low, they stay running the whole time. And I don't want to have them up on high, go to sleep, and wake up and they've shut off and I'm freezing in here. But the heated mattress pad will fix that.
So again, you're working on drafts. My drafts aren't terrible, but you do what you can. So that's a blanket, and I just got it clipped, like 3 clips up there, holding it in place. And then you just take it down to the floor, and you tuck it in there, and you'd be surprised, it keeps some good drafts out of those double doors.
I stayed nice and warm here. I think the lowest it got to inside here was 60 degrees. It was up 65, 70 most of the time, but again, it did get 4 below. And it's still pretty darn cold out there. But I did notice one thing. I don't have to worry about that I was getting enough airflow because, let's see if we can see it. Down here, I pulled my boots out. I keep my boots down in the step. And I didn't close the door all the way. But it was night and I couldn't tell. So when I looked this morning, I could see a good amount of light. So I didn't have the door all the way closed. But we still stayed nice and warm in here.
So when your water's turned off, use a coffee pot to make dishwater.
All right, we're gonna do dishes. First thing, we're gonna put some dish soap in that. Some hot water out of the coffee pot. It is plenty hot enough, trust me. That's all there is to it. Now you're asking, where's the bucket? Well, normally I wash everything in a bucket, but since I had so few, I figured it'd be easy to scrub this in here. And we'll get the bucket. Put that in there, double check, make sure I got it all clean. I'm gonna scrub a little harder. And we got the rest of the coffee water. And rinse. And there you go. You're washing it in a bucket in your RV and you're good to go. Right? Oh, hot, hot. God, that's hot. It's really hot. So you do not have to worry. Your stuff is clean. Then you take this bucket out and you can dump it into the latrine, fire pit. I mean, the best place to put it would be down, you know, the normal RV dump. If you have one of those that isn't frozen over. But pretty simple. And you're all done. Alright, that's washing dishes 101. Another really important thing, that's my Duracell battery pack. I can use that to power different things. It'll charge from the wall, it'll charge from a solar panel, it'll charge from that 12 volt that's sticking out of there right there. And you can also run things off that 12 volt, you can run off the outlets. And the great thing about this is it also has jumper cables. So if you're out somewhere by yourself, having something like this to If you're in the super cold and your battery doesn't want to start, this is a really good and helpful thing to have.
Okay, since the RV is winterized, that is the bathroom option. Benefit, doesn't smell because everything's frozen. Downside is you don't want anything touching when you go in there. Yeah, that could be a serious problem. Remember Christmas Story? Yeah, way worse. Okay, so that's the bathroom. And people wonder, what do you do in the winter in the bathroom? Well, there are things you can do. First, that's the shower. That's where the curtain goes. That ain't happening in the winter. And for me, nothing's really happening in here because it's been winterized. So, fortunate as a guy, that's number one, if you need to do such. And then we'll show you a trick on what you can do with that thing if you need to. Alright, so that's the toilet. And what do we got in there? Again, I would never ever use it to show you, but that is a grocery bag. So in case of emergency, here again, I don't have to worry about that because this place has an outhouse that you can use. You can go in that. Now the other thing you can do, what a lot of people will do, is you can flush with RV antifreeze. So you do your business in there and then use RV antifreeze to flush it down, and that should keep it from freezing up until you dump your tank. Personally, I don't think I'd want to take that chance. Hopefully that's not an option of what you have to do, but if you're at a place where there's not a facility available, that's an option. And again, instead of the shower, it's baby wipe season, you know. Alright, so that's what you do in the bathroom. No one likes to talk about, but it's real life. Alright, see? It's about 75, but it's about 2 feet away from the heater. But it's not bad in here. Kiki, did I wake you? You're sleeping up there. Vinny, you hungry again? Yeah, you're probably hungry again. Okay, I've said before I almost never put this on the floor, but since I'm in here and keeping an eye on these guys, I got this heater on the floor because you get 3 feet up, it's nice and warm, but the floor is obviously cold. Something else that works really great since it's cold on the floor, slippers. If you're going to RV in the winter, just put some slippers on. Your floors are going to be kind of cold.
Those bitter cold wind chills. Next 4 hours, heading on down below zero, and a light west wind out there at 3 to 7, but that's enough to make it feel even colder.
Alright, something to keep in mind, you're going to have moisture. Moisture in the winter can be an issue, obviously. So I still, even though it's cold, I bring my dehumidifier. This little sucker I've had 4 or 5 years, it's running great. And also paper towels, or a towel, microfiber, or something like that, to wipe down windows to stop your condensation. But you must fight condensation in the winter just like the summer.
Terribly strong right now. We have light wind out of the west-northwest. When you factor it in, it makes it feel like an area of high pressure.
But it's not that bad.
Seriously, if you don't just despise the cold, you can have a good time out in your RV in this kind of weather.
Alright, remember you can always run your engine on a Class B and usually get enough heat out of it to be okay. Small RV, this engine can keep you warm. So let's see if he's going to want to start this morning. This afternoon, really, actually. Oh, there was a little fight to it, but it happened. Alright, so we're in no huge rush. We're going to let him warm up. Alright, you can see we got condensation. Microfiber towel. Yeah, it's gonna be a while before that's gonna melt off. It's very cold outside, but if you see, I got the Reflectix here, so none of the moisture is hitting the bed, so I don't have to worry about mildew.
Well, I hope this was a little helpful and you have a great and wonderful day.